we're going to see more of TCU in the Elite Eight, and we are going to talk about the Elite Eight right now in our Elite Eight preview. Now, our first matchup, we don't have to go too in depth. I feel like we talked a lot about Duke versus South Carolina just because we were talking about South Carolina as a whole. So I'll save some of our more in-depth conversations for these other matchups. But overall, let's just make a pick. Duke versus South Carolina. We've been talking about how South Carolina hasn't looked that good. We talked about how Duke has a lot of defensive firepower that could make it hard for South Carolina, harder, I should say, than it's already been. Alicia, I know how hard you ride for South Carolina. I will tell you this. I am somebody who always, between the Battle of North Carolina, always went with UNC, so I can't pick Duke just on principle. So I'm going to lean towards South Carolina, and I hope that good energy makes them do better than I've seen them do so far. So I'm going South Carolina.
Yeah, I'm nervous about this game. I'm not going to lie. But what I hope happens is that South Carolina steps up, redeems themselves, and they win this game over Duke. That is what I feel.
That you're thinking of that you want to step up?
Man, I mean, the team in general needs to, but I would say, I mean, Kits has to have a huge game. Obviously, I mean, Mora was always going to have a good, I mean, she showed consistently that she's going to have a good game.
Mm-hmm. Raven Johnson, as Emma pointed out.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people, I don't know. They just need to overall as a team step up and play South Carolina basketball the way that they know that they can. I would say collectively because, and they know it. I mean, after the game, so many people, like we just talked about in that, you know, in the segment that we had about it, they knew that they didn't play well. They almost kind of lightweight said they shouldn't even be in the next round because of the way that they played. So do something about it. That's what I want to see.
Do something about it. And on that note, we're going to move on to you. That's a mic drop. We're going to talk UCLA versus LSU because there's been a lot of chatter between these two teams. UCLA has used their Sweet 16 loss to LSU last season as motivation this year. Kiki Rice, she said, quote, last year, LSU was the tougher team in that matchup, and a lot of our work during the offseason, just throughout this entire year, has been how can we build that collective toughness to be ready for those matchups, be ready for physical teams, be ready for those kind of environments. Now, Kim Mulkey wasn't having any of that. She said, Kiki, I got something for you. In her Michael Jackson outfit, she said, quote, so they used our loss to fuel their season. I don't know that we really thought about that win very much. I'm sure that if it was the last game of the season for them, maybe it does fuel them, but I just remember we won. Can't remember the details. I will say this. I don't agree with everything Kim says it does, but that was a bar.
It was a bar, but actually, no, it was a bar, but I will say that they were thinking about something that happened with UCLA last year because Flage said that there was this article, I don't know if you remember it, but they called LSU the dirty debutantes. I don't know if you remember that from last year, but
I don't remember that. Oh.
Yeah, it was an article full of ridiculousness, but that was like the thing that she cited is kind of like stood out to her in the article. And it was said that Coach Close retweeted that article.
Wow.
And so she was talking about remembering that. So I'm just saying they both remembering a lot about last year. That's all I'm saying.
It's a little bit of a flex, though, because one player for one team is saying they use the loss as motivation, and the other, it's kind of like the Mariah, like, I don't know her because all I remember is that we won. So next. Not only did we win, but we won one. So like, this is going to be fun. Obviously, whenever two teams are kind of jarring at each other in quotes and in the media, makes for a little different level of excitement. I expect Lauren Betts to have a good game, but we're going to need someone else to step up because she was spotted on the sideline or on the bench rather last time UCLA's previous game, and basically was on the bench saying, I can't breathe. I'm so effing tired. And that just means you got one person doing a whole lot of the work and nobody else is stepping up. Now, obviously, you putting up those kind of numbers, even her, she's only human. Your body fatigue kicks in eventually, and your productivity can take a hit for that. So I need, Kiki and everybody else to kind of fill in, and all their role players to kind of fill in the voids. Because I think, and we've been talking about this, LSU's rolling at the right time. There was concerns due to the injuries, but they've been able to persevere and come back stronger. And now they got their girls back, and that's making a difference. So if I had to pick someone, though, I'm still leaning towards UCLA. I still think overall, I just like how they look offensively, defensively, as a team, as a whole. But I think this is going to come down to the wire. And I wouldn't be surprised if it went into overtime.
It is. It's going to be a great game. And I think I said the wrong name when we were talking about South Carolina, so I apologize. But what I'm looking forward to in this matchup is Anissa Morrow and Betts together. I think that is going to be an epic matchup for sure. And this one's hard for me because LSU is one of those teams that is always like, listen, we got this. And I don't care who they're playing. I don't care, who the opponent is. So I don't know. This one's hard for me. UCLA has been looking great. They're going to need more players to really, step up in this game outside of Betts, because I think that, Morrow is going to give her a problem. Sure. You know what I'm saying? But
sure.
And yeah, LSU definitely does not fear UCLA in any way, shape, or form. So Ashley, I'm actually leaning towards LSU on this one.
Okay.
I am. And this is my game I am so excited this is my your popcorn game.
Oh, this is going to be good for the party then, because we're on opposite ends of the spectrum. Yeah. So we will have a lot to discuss. One of us will come out the winner and the other a loser. But true. I know that this is where it gets interesting for you, this next matchup, because we've been very high on the TCU train. But I also know that you have a direct connection to Texas, and they are our next matchup in the Battle of Texas. That's Texas versus TCU. Biggest matchup for these two teams in their history. And again, it's the battle for the Lonestar State. Texas has a 53-4 edge in the series, meaning TCU has beaten Texas just 4 times, but that's before HVL got there, and she got the magic touch right now, baby. The biggest thing for TCU, some of the notes, though, clean up turnovers, take care of that ball security. For Texas, we already know Madison Booker is the key 17.6 rebounds in that win against Tennessee. And then HVL, no explanation needed. You know where I'm leaning. I'm sticking with the Frogs, but I want to hear your answer, because I know this is going to be a little bit harder for you to answer. So I want you to pour your heart out and keep it a buck.
My heart, obviously, shout out to Jordan Lee. My heart wants Texas to win. I'm not going to lie. Like, I want them to advance. Obviously, I have a tie to Jordan. I really want her team to advance, and I want her to advance. She had an excellent game this game. I'm proud of her. Okay. Let's just be clear. And I'm keeping it a buck because I am. But I wouldn't want to play TCU right now. I wouldn't. I just would not want to, because it just seems like they obviously have a lot of momentum going behind them. They have a lot of fans going behind them. They have their will. It just seems like it's on 1,000 right now to what is their slogan? Emma, the coach was wearing the shirt, keep winning or something like that. That's terrible. It's not the same thing. But he was not playing. He ripped off his shirt and he had the shirt on underneath it just to show them that he believed in them the whole time. So I just feel like TCU has had a stellar year. They have a really, really good team. They were seeded number 2 for a reason. And that magic that is behind them, HVL, and just the story that is going on there, and just her sheer play. I like I said, I want Texas to win, but I feel like TCU might have it.
TCU? Okay.
Yes. I hate saying that out loud.
I know. I know it pains
but I actually, I like both teams, and I think that, Texas is a great team as well, but I feel like, my mind looking at everything is it's leaning towards TCU.
I appreciate
But
the
that is
honesty.
hard, man.
As hard as that was for you, this is going to be hard for me, not because I'm not able to make a pick, just because I wanted a different game. And that is our last matchup, and that's UConn versus USC. I wanted Paige versus Juju. That was what I was waiting for. And unfortunately, that is not the game that we're going to get, which is why it makes it easier for me to make my pick of UConn. If Juju was on that floor, my heart would have been torn in two different directions. But UConn, absolutely rolling. Paige Bueckers is a gangster. I just am in awe every time she plays a game. It's insane. She's in her groove. This team is healthy. They are cooking. Gino looks at Paige with such love and admiration and affection. Looks like he's gonna cry every time she walks off the podium.
But
He
anyway,
wasn't, but I don't believe him.
Well, actually, I don't know if he said he wasn't. I think it was Sue Bird that said there's no shot he was crying. That's what it was.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And if we haven't gotten those tears, they're coming. USC, look, as much as the freshmen have been stepping up, Kiki obviously needs to play better.
Yeah.
I just think that Paige is on an absolute streaker. She's on a heater. And for me, I just can't go against UConn without USC having Juju. It's a different game. It's a different level of competition. And for me, it's that simple. Give me UConn, give me Paige. But yeah, it's not the game. It's not the version of the game that I wanted, and that's very disappointing for me.
You know, with Paige not winning a chip, ever in her career, not to say that she has to, but with that, with the team that is around her, you have AZ, you have Sarah Strong. And you have players that are just stepping up in different ways on that team. Not just the stars that we hear about all the time, but you also just have her play. I mean, she is the way that she is scoring at will, the way that she is affecting both ends of the floor. It's just beauty in motion, to be honest. Basketball, beauty in motion to watch. And I personally, as much as I would love for the story to continue for USC to win for Juju, I just can't see it given what we saw today from Paige and from that UConn team. I just see them advancing for sure. I love what the team is doing. And obviously for them to have any chance, Kiki does need to step up in big ways. But I see UConn advancing for sure.